everyone, I'm Jane Does, but today I'm going to be Jane Says because I'm going to be saying things and talking about things. So, today I just have a little spiel I just want to get off my chest. So I've noticed something happen in the last 10-15 years or so that has to do with my favorite type of media being kind of obliterated, smeared, trashed, kicked, wedgied, swirlied in the toilet. Here's my favorite type of media. Early 2000s, coming of age, relatable media. I'm talking Mean Girls, Super Bad, Total Drama Island, Zoe 101 type beat. And you know what? I'm gonna say it. I think we've all noticed it, but nobody's talking about it. It's just not the same anymore. It's just not. And you know why it's not the same anymore? It's because of a few things. So firstly, I want to address, I feel like Gen Z is a very unique generation, okay? Like, we have people from all walks of life crawling up from the woodwork. We got our late bloomers, people who are a bit stunted, people who don't have very many experiences that define their youth. We have people who are literally, they turned adults after 12, okay? Like, they skipped teenagers. They went from adolescence to grown. Like, you know those people that have done everything, and they're 15. And then we have a few people who are typically considered average, which is kind of rare these days because the spectrum is getting very vast and very gray. So averages are kind of rare these days. There's just a large mix of everything going on. My point is, there's a lot of different points of views that could be represented in media, and that makes things very hard to make relatable. Back in 2005, if you talk to somebody about your life who's the same age as you, it would probably be extremely similar. Everybody grew up pretty much the same, everybody had experiences that were pretty much the same, everybody grew up in sort of a very similar timeline, followed a very similar timeline, and all the shared experiences and relatability could be easily conveyed through media. Now, some of us are driving, others are doing hard drugs, but my point is that it's hard to capture relatability when nothing is really generally relatable and universally relatable to youth anymore. There's not so much of the population being the everyman anymore. So I think it's hard to make things relatable for a lot of people, whereas back in the day, there would be more of the shared experience when it comes to childhood and growing up, and everyone would nod at things and be like, yeah, I get that. The tropes were really strong and really defined. There was always the jock, there was always the nerd, there was always the, mean, popular girl, there was the underdogs, and everyone would be familiar with all these archetypes. It's kind of a good thing in some ways that we've broken them down. Sometimes stereotypes can be toxic, but in another way, we're kind of diluting the archetypes of these characters so much that there's no character left. You kind of make them so abstract that they become confusing, even to the writers sometimes. Every girl who was a teenager in the early 2000s who watched Mean Girls, there was at least one scene in the movie that they were just Jesus, this is real. The whole assembly scene, it was too realistic, it was too real. Things like that just don't happen to a lot of people anymore. The introspective talks about our feelings about each other that don't get extremely dramatized and start being weird storylines that develop into badly portrayed mental health storylines. There's not so much anymore this connection with each other that we used to have. Modernization has really killed that, and now everything needs to be so boom, profitable, dramatic, in your face. A lot of media nowadays is mostly about either shock value or to sort of preach a specific message that not everyone finds either relatable or necessary. It's not really about you anymore as the person that the media should relate to. I feel like that's just taken a lot of fun out of the whole youth culture scene and turned it into showbiz. know this is an overhyped opinion and everybody loves this one, okay? But if shows like BoJack Horseman could be made to appeal specifically to the idea of teenage years and coming of age, that would be the perfect balance of marketability, dramatization, in your face like entertainment, but also being at its core something that the audiences can relate to and find deep messages in and like just see themselves in. I love BoJack Horseman for that reason. Not only is it extremely marketable, obviously everybody loves it, it's entertaining and it's, you know, it's soapy and campy at times, but it's still real. Like, I don't watch the show and think this is really too ridiculous for me to get behind. Things like, this is the last time I'm gonna mention it, Euphoria, break my immersion every 5 seconds. I can't watch it and attach myself to it in any aspect. At the end of the day, maybe Sam Levinson would say it's not for me to relate to, but then why make it about teens going through this stuff and say that the message about this group is strong because it's supposed to apply to us but not make it apply to us? I just don't think it's very good reaching. Modernized tween and teen content misses the mark like entirely. Nobody even wants to watch things like Disney Channel or Nickelodeon anymore because not only is it obviously not relatable anymore, but it's kind of like either they're blowing it up too much and taking concepts that are so dramatized or extravagant or crazy that you can't be immersed in them, or you're making them like too dumbed down to the point where the audience is like, you think like I'm stupid? There's just really no market for just good, simple tween teen content anymore. The funniest parts about shows like Total Drama Island are just like the little nods to things that you would deal with every day. Again, bringing up like the archetypes that were used for comedy, but also for familiarity and relatability, as well as like the plot lines about like who likes who's stabbing who in the back, who's making friends with who has a crush on who. It's all very realistic and none of it is plot driven, it is character driven, and you get really familiar with these characters and the types of people they are and the things that they do, and they are just like your peers and they're just like you, and everything they do is something you would do, and you're just like, wow, that's me, oh my god.
I do that.
I think that if you, like me, are a super fan of Total Drama Island and you haven't yet, you should get into South Park. I promise you, just like with BoJack Horseman and classic relatable movies and media, you'll find that the most charming and entertaining and relatable aspects of both will speak to you on a level that, you know, is almost comforting. Like I said, familiarity and relatability is strong when you have this cast of characters that is just really similar to people that you would know and yourself, and they're all doing these things that people you know or yourself would do. I think at the core of all of these good shows from back in the day is that their focus was really to create stories about us, about how they say that art imitates life. That was exactly the goal. Nowadays, I feel like people want to make something that's never been seen before, and it just loses so much touch. That's just my opinion on modern teen media and why it is literally the good stuff, the classics, been murdered, slaughtered, smeared on the wall, and they'll probably never be the same. If you enjoy my spiels, please like, comment, subscribe, whatever I tell you to do. Just listen to me, just trust me, just do it. And I'll talk about more stuff. You know what? I think I'll just talk about more stuff anyway, because I feel like it. But it'd be good to know that you enjoy hearing me talk about stuff. So